Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today I'm back with the Skaven. We're going to be taking on the Lizardmen. And if yesterday's game showed us anything, it's that if one artillery piece is good, then 4 artillery pieces must be great, right? Definitely not always, but in certain situations it definitely can be. You can see my forces here do indeed have 4 Warp Lightning Cannons already opening up shots against Lizardmen. Lord Skrolk, not surprisingly, is going to be the Lord choice. He's really by far and away the most competitive Lord choice, and I'm hoping that the Skaven will get some more competitive Lords, in upcoming DLC. Let's see here, in terms of the rest of the army, it's just all clan rats. We've got a whole bunch of clan rats with spears around. We've also got 1 storm vermin, and then a very heavy range contingent with 4 night runners, 2 on each flank with a gutter runner supporting them. So the idea here is the gutter runners provide the poison and the snare net, and then the night runners are just here to deal damage and to increase our body count. So that's it for my force. In terms of the Lizardmen here, we've got Lord Mazdamundi up on Slock here. In terms of his spell loadout, Harmonic Convergence, Curse of the Midnight Wind, Common of Cassandora, and Apotheosis. He's also got Ruination of Cities and Banishment, as well as Shield of the Old Ones. He's got 3, count 'em, 3 Feral Bastiladons. These guys are a pretty good cheap terror option. They do have the Enrage and have pretty poor stats in terms of their combat stats, but 250 weapon strength is not too bad, and 140 armor is pretty solid as well. He's got plenty of Saurus Warriors with shields. It looks like 5 in total, a couple of Skink cohort. Over here he's got lots of Feral Cold Ones. We've got 3 of them. And over here, I believe there's 3 more, so a pretty wide Lizardman army. Feral Cold Ones can be pretty cost-effective in the right situation. They're pretty low in model count, only 24 models, and they don't have the most HP, but they're only 450 points, and they do some pretty solid armor-piercing damage. So again, if you can get them in the right situation, they can definitely be cost-effective. But yeah, you can see just pushing up all across the board here, the Warp Lightning Cannon is going to be focusing on this Feral Bastiladon, and the idea here is we're going to try and get these guys enraged before they get into combat, so that we can kind of kite them out a little bit. Same idea here. We're going to try and kite these Feral Cold Ones out a little bit, and if we can, get them to enrage. So we'll see if we're able to be successful there, but just look at the amount of fire from these 4 Warp Lightning Cannons just blasting this Feral Bastiladon. I'm going to try and take it out. We should be able to rout it off before it even gets close. But still, all this source is going to be pretty tough for me to deal with, considering I have a pretty poor infantry corps. That being said, Lord Skrolk, of course, with the Skaven clan rat summons, can at least help pad out our numbers a little bit, and maybe we'll win through an attrition game. But at this point, we've zapped down 1 dino, so moving our attention over to the next one. While there are plenty of feral dinos getting in and around the flanks, we've got some clan rat spears supporting the gutter runners and night runners here, taking out these feral cold ones who do count as large entities, so the spears will be getting their bonus there. Same thing over here, clan rats, you can see they take quite a bit of shock damage. The 40 charge bonus to the feral cold ones, not bad at all, but once that bonus versus large starts to take effect, they will be able to do some damage there. You can see skinks fighting clan rats, definitely going to be a bit of a wash, but we've got storm vermin moving in as well, and some clan rats being summoned up to kind of bog down this flank here. At least tie these guys up for a time. This mobile force has their hands full dealing with more feral cold ones here, or the skirmish force rather. So we haven't been able to secure the Warp Lightning Cannons though, and they're firing away. You can see it looks like a banishment going down on that crew. Honestly, didn't do the most damage. Vortex spells on artillery, you would think might do some pretty decent damage, but Ruination of Cities, it looks like going down there. It's definitely good to keep those on cooldown as much as possible, but he might have wanted to use them in a different area. If he had been able to put up the Shield of the Old Ones, maybe right here, or, it's tough to say, but at this point the Warp Lightning Cannons are all focusing on Mazdamundi, and we also hit him with the Liber Bubonicus. He's going to try and hit himself with an Apotheosis and the Cold-Blooded to keep his HP up, which will definitely help, but it's going to be tough stuff for Mazdamundi. You can see friendly fire destroying that Skaven artillery piece, as is typical of Skaven, and that one probably going to be taking some fire as well. Mazdamundi online for the time being, but he is routing off, unfortunately, so it's going to put a significant dent in the balance power for the Lizardmen, obviously. At this point, there are still plenty of Saurus on the field, though. You can see these two units of Saurus almost completely healthy, and there is still this Feral Bastillodon very healthy as well. These Saurus starting to push through, although this one is getting worn down by ranged fire, and that's the idea with all these Gutter Runners and Night Runners, is they're the ones that are going to deal with the Saurus, because Saurus only have 60 armor. If we can at the very least tie them down and just shoot them in the back, they're not going to do the most damage, but Night Runners have decent AP values, if I remember correctly. It's 2 AP, so it's not terrible, whereas Gutter Runners, I'm not sure if it's the same. The Gutter Runners actually have 3, so they have slightly more AP, but again, 60 armor isn't the most at the end of the day. It's pretty decent, but yeah, this Feral Bastillodon is about to go down. The other one, still full health pretty much, but there's a lot of Skaven left on the field. We've still got this entire skirmish force pretty much completely healthy. These guys have taken some damage, but they've come back from rout, and we've also got a cannon crew coming back from rout as well. Critically, Lord Skrulk himself is still completely healthy, so we're going to be able to get more Clan Rat summons, as is the case right here, just to bog things down, try and win through attrition, and if we can finish off some of these dinos, resecure the Warp Lightning Cannon, should be pretty beneficial. Mazdamundi did come back from routing, though, so we're going to get these Warp Lightning Cannons, trying to take him down. Rod of Corruption going down from Skrulk. Obviously going to do a ton of AoE damage to these Saurus Warriors in particular, but Mazdamundi taking a few more shots here, probably going to go down at this point, only has about 300 HP left, but we'll see if these Zaps are able to finish him off here, and Mazdamundi does indeed go down. So, man, that was quite the graceful fall there, Mazdamundi, but he zaps back up into the sky, and yeah, at that point, the Lizardmen are going to be very low on leadership just in general. Even these Saurus Warriors that still have quite a few unit models left are going to be pretty low on leadership. This Feral Bastillodon, enraged, got his sights set on Mazdamundi, or sorry, on Lord Skrulk there, angry about Mazdamundi, no doubt. But yeah, at this point, the Saurus are just getting dragged through the mud. They're still getting, you know, shuriken thrown at them. We've still got Warp Lightning Cannons online. Another crew is coming back to man their Warp Lightning Cannon, I believe. Nope, looks like they're still just hanging out in the back. But yeah, at this point things are looking very desperate for the Lizardmen. And despite the fact that Saurus are definitely superior infantry here, just getting dragged through the mud and that attritional warfare is definitely where the Skaven shine. And although the Skaven ended up at the bottom of my tier list, they only had 4 matchups that were skewed. So, you know, that may not necessarily mean that they're that terrible. A lot of matchups, I would say, are actually quite even for the Skaven. And once they get their Regiments of Renown and maybe some more Lord choices besides just Lord Skrulk, would be very welcome as well. But as it stands right now, I think the Skaven are in a pretty solid place. They could do with a little bit more counter cavalry tools, but at the end of the day, something like this definitely can work. And I mean, it's pretty risky to invest this heavily, especially in direct line of sight artillery. But on a map that's large and wide open, like Blue Reach River is, then you can definitely get some good value, especially if you spread them out against a slower faction like the Lizardmen. They really aren't going to have too many fast attack units that can threaten in melee, so in that way you're very safe to just kind of keep your Warp Lightning Cannons back and spread out so that even if one gets compromised, the other ones are still online, able to get a bit of a crossfire there. So the rest of the army, Night Runners and Gutter Runners, did quite well. Didn't really take too much damage and were able to help deal with the Feral Cold Ones and the Saurus Warriors as well. Storm Vermin, 119 kills. They definitely cleaned up some skinks, but got cut down by Saurus. Warp Lightning Cannon is still the MVP, though, and of course Lord Skrulk with his Rod of Corruption and the Clan Rat summons, just perpetually throwing more bodies at the Lizardmen, which is always effective. Even if, you know, even if those Clan Rat summons only get a few kills here and there on some cheap units, it's still just the bogging things down, the slowing the pace of the battle down and grinding things out, you know, definitely the Skaven way. I mean, don't get me wrong, Lizardmen can be very good in a grind out too, but whereas I just had such overwhelming artillery firepower, we were able to focus down targets very quickly, and that's kind of the same idea I had with the bolt throwers. If you watched my Tomb King game I just posted, where I took a bunch of Reaper bolt throwers against the Tomb Kings, a similar paradigm there, just overwhelming amounts of artillery to pressure my opponent, and that way we can, you know, just focus fire down targets and try and eliminate them as quickly as possible. So it definitely was pretty effective in this particular battle. In terms of countering this for the Lizardmen, I'd probably say you can leave the Feral Bastillodons at home, and I might say take a different Lord choice. Mazdamundi's pretty solid, but you know, he's definitely vulnerable to Warp Lightning Cannons. He's a pretty big target, so if you were to take someone like Krokar on foot, or even just a generic Saurus Oldblood on foot, that could be potentially pretty good. And then you take a Skink Priest. Lord of Heavens is perfectly serviceable against the Skaven. You know, Wind Blast, you've got Curse of Midnight Wind as well. I mean, obviously you don't get Apotheosis, but still, I think the Skink Priest, Lord of Heavens, is a perfectly adequate choice against the Skaven. That allows you to bring an infantry lord like Krokar, or maybe a Saurus Oldblood. Again, smaller target. But you guys will have to let me know down in the comments below what you think about this mass artillery build. I know some of you are going to hate this you know, large range contingent, but pretty sure this is tournament legal as far as I know. But you guys will have to let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and we'll see you next time.